Piaget, for me, was one of the great geniuses of the 20th century and has provided an open door for folk like me to reason more precisely about how human beings develop and how they learn, and has given me a great deal of inspiration. He was a very old man, and many of the things that were characteristic of him were more characteristic of his younger years. And he's remembered really as the kind of saint of the streets of Geneva, Switzerland. He was reputed primarily to be involved with children and actively involved in children's games. And he spent a lot of his life playing marbles with children of Geneva. Now, that may sound strange for a person who was trained as an epistemological biologist and ultimately became one of the century's outstanding psychologists. But he was a scientist who knew the value of observing, not simply testing, not simply getting data on a piece of paper, but observing and being able to describe what he was seeing. His insights were phenomenal. He watched children play marbles, and in the playing of marbles, he discovered the strategies that children would use at various levels to accomplish the worth of that game. Game playing is one of the ways that you kind of, well, put it this way, game playing is a kind of a window on the intellect. And Piaget was strongly influenced by the things that he saw in children as they played the game of marbles. And so he was down on his knees with the children in Geneva when people would literally scoff at him for being so childlike in his behavior. And when you consider the grizzled old man that had hair all over his head, and certainly must have looked a little bit like Father Christmas, playing marbles on the streets of Geneva with ruffian children, you just have a hard time imagining how a person could bring himself to that. But he knew how, and he could do it with an integrity that would find its way into the finest literature in psychology and the finest literature in child development. Many of the things we understand today about how children develop came out of the experiences that Piaget had with the marble players on the streets of Geneva.